Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, Umber Rays, and today we're taking a look at Kimono Ayaka, both as a review and hopefully as a showcase if the game is really nice to me and hasn't screwed up my friend list in the time that it's taken me to come over here. Anyway, so yes, Kimono Ayaka is actually pretty damn interesting when it comes right down to it. I think that she is just an absolutely solid unit. So let's talk a little bit about her. Now, I've already talked about her in the banner review, so I'm just going to go over this quickly. First of all, her Trust Mastery reward. Well, you can see it right here. It's just a really high spirit, still pretty nice defense and some light resistance, as well as 10% Esper stats on this kimono. And let me tell you, that's just generally a pretty nice defensive item for magic tanks who can use this type of clothing, or hell, even healers. This is just beautiful to get your hands on. It is just an incredibly high spirit stat, so there's not really much else to say other than this thing's fantastic, and you probably at least want one of these in general. Now, Super Trust Mastery, again, unbelievably high quality, 94 Spirit Hat with 20% MP, 2 Limit Burst fills, and 38 2 Limit Burst Crystal fills, and 38 defense. Again, anything that needs Spirit, this is just an incredible piece of headgear. Now, let's talk about Ayaka. First of all, new version of Ayaka should be around for a fairly long time. Given some of the builds that I have seen of her, she can hit fairly easily. Well, easily she can hit about 2200 spirit, but build-wise, maxed out, she should be able to hit about 2800 spirit when all things are said and done with a whole bunch of super TMRs. Now, first of all, that's just incredible on its own. She has just a lot of power behind her, considering that all of her attacks just use spirit, and that's the big thing. But this isn't the real reason I want to do this video. As a matter of fact, we're just going to go show her off against the current raid boss. Ooh, thank God. Alright, and Grimgrin, who is a patron of Twitch, and I'm not entirely sure if he watches my YouTube, but anyway, I'm going to give a shout out to him because this is an example of a really quite high quality Ayaka. As you can see, she already has her Super Trust Mastery, as well as another two Super Trust Masteries. But yes, very high quality build right here. Absolutely incredible. So give a shout out to him. But we're going to show off just how much damage she can do without being even chained by anyone. And yes, this music is very relaxing. I know. I actually enjoy it just for the simple fact of how relaxing it is. So what we're going to do is we are going to basically just pass the turn. This isn't a super dangerous boss. You know, raid bosses very rarely are. We'll take a few extra precautions because, you know, why not? I'm just going to go down here and we're going to use this, which will give us access to basically her big chaining move. Also gives her light resist as well as a huge HP heal per turn. Alright. And now we have access to that big damaging attack, which if I can just find where it is. It's the 52 MP one. Of course, we'll double cast. Wait, it's not her 60. Oh, maybe it. I think there was a different. Hold on. Just need to make sure that I am hitting the right one, which is her chaining ability. Maybe her chaining ability is not the one that needs to be unlocked. Ugh, I can't believe I've done this. It's not that, it is Well, anyway, let's just show off her 62 MP, the one that we unlocked basically off of her. Yeah, it is the chaining one. Got very confused looking at the data, but as you can see, just kind of annihilated that boss by herself as a chainer, just chaining by her. Well, I guess it's not really chaining, it's just using a chaining attack. She can do a lot of damage, and to put that in perspective, not even Axstar, well, maybe with the ice element, but that just shows just how powerful she can potentially be. But I'm not really here to talk in... Yeah, that's where we wanted to go. We wanted to just bring her back up. That's not the reason why I'm doing this unit review. I mean, showcasing her, it would have been nice to actually be able to get her, and maybe some point in the future I will just UOC her, because she's pretty damn cool. Her animations are super nice, her sprite is really cool, it's very Japanese, and that's pretty much enough of a reason for me. And not to forget, victory animation is really good. I could talk about a whole bunch of stuff to do with her kit, but really her kit has a whole bunch of, you know, single hit attacks that are either AoE or not. She's stop immune, she has incredibly high spirit, she has true dual wield spirit, she has dual wield for staffs, which is all she really needs considering she only cares about spirit. She has some healing, she can put an element or 2 different elements on her attacks. She has a chaining ability that is 8 hits at 6 frames, I do believe, and even if, it doesn't really matter, it does just so much damage and it should chain partially with other people anyway. But really, all of this is kind of inconsequential to something that I was thinking about recently, which is history is kind of repeating itself. Think about where we were exactly, pretty much exactly 1 year ago. Think about one of the latest banners on the JP side last year. And for global people, I'll help you out a little bit. It was Sephiroth. The Sephiroth banner came out. And Sephiroth was a very, very hyped unit. But there was also another unit that came along with it who happened to use Spirit for chaining attacks. And if you're not entirely sure yet, well, I don't know what to say. I guess I'll just spell it right out. She's right here. Yes, if anything, Kimono Ayaka really reminds me of Lyra, except a much better kit. For one thing, dual wield, stop resistance, the ability to give stop immunity to different party members. There's a lot of stuff in the new Ayaka's kit that just screams that somebody really wanted to make a better version of Lyra, when Alum essentially had given up on Lyra, which is kind of too bad. Ayaka is a unit that I've never been super crazy about, either from the lore side or from just general experience with Arena back at the time of not having her and having to deal with stop in a different way, back when stop immunity was quite difficult to get your hands on, and getting curing stop was also quite difficult to get your hands on. But Lyra had something that was incredibly powerful at the time, which was spirit chaining. It could only be really done with herself, and obviously Ayaka has the advantage because if, you know, she belongs to an actual chaining family, she can chain with some pretty good options in the game right now, and that makes her very, very valuable. She's pretty tanky with that high of a spirit. She should be able to kill quite a few bosses that really require more magic damage. In general, Ayaka, new Ayaka is just, she is the literal definition of Lila 2.0, and that is interesting. But if you remember about the time that Lila came out, not shortly after did a high damage dealer come out that kind of just completely swept her under the rug, and she never exactly recovered from it. Who am I talking about? Well, it's the guy with the leopard mask. Like, Hayo, it's off to work we go. Well, he was just such high damage dealing, and when Bahamut's Tear came along, he could be potentially even more devastating and left very much in the dust. Like, there was just this awkward power vacuum where Lila didn't get her 7-star for a while. And so what is what are you supposed to do? Well, not much, and that's exactly kind of what happened to her. And her enhancements and her 7-star kit didn't help her spirit chaining that much, and we ended up with just kind of a dead unit. Now, Ayaka, I don't think that is the case at all. Again, better chaining, better kit, just all around 100% better. There's nothing that I don't essentially like about Ayaka in theory. But the real problem here is that, again, we are coming into a big month, which is November. There was no advertising market out there for Ayaka. Ayaka was not made into this new Ayaka was not made into a CG unit. And why? Probably because we have something bigger on the way. This is one of the reasons why I have not spent a ton of resources going after Ayaka. While she is definitely awesome, I've seen this happen before. And it was essentially just Lila. And I'm not entirely convinced that that isn't happening again, which is the point more of this review than going over her kit with a fine-tooth comb. Also because I didn't get her, so I can't really show her off that much. But Lila has an absolutely solid kit. But CG Lightning is just this big asterisk on everything in the game right now. When people in chat at Twitch ask me, well, should I be UOCing this? Should I be Super TMRing this? No, we should probably wait and see what happens with Lightning. For one thing, the Ayaka banner will still be up when the Lightning data gets entered into the game, but secondly, this is kind of history repeating itself, essentially. CG protagonists are on the way, and there's one very, very obvious key difference with them, and that's the limit bursts. The fact that CG Lightning has a limit burst from the start of the fight and also has a level 40 limit burst says everything about how powerful Lightning will be. Lightning is also true dual wield. We already know that. We know that Alum wants to make true dual wield the new meta. They are tired of true dual hand, so it's time for units like Lightning to come into the fray. Now, Ayaka definitely has true dual wield, but what she is lacking something. There is one thing in her kit that is very much missing, and that is the new chaining ability that Alum has been essentially toting for a while. And that was an ability that was added to both CG Reagan as well as CG Laswell. It's an ability that essentially ups the amount of chaining damage. Well, that might be the right one. Can't exactly remember. But the point is, for dual wielding, they get essentially a boost to the amount of damage they output through chaining. And let me tell you something, there is a lot of potential value coming from this new ability. It really depends how Lightning's kit is, but with CG protagonists on the way and what looks like a big leap that is not in rarity but is in essentially their kits, while Ayaka is definitely powerful and I think will last longer than Lila did because there isn't the 6-star to 7-star change that happened back as it did back then with the 2nd anniversary. There is a big asterisk around Ayaka, whether or not she's going to be swept under the rug by a physical damage dealer. We know we've seen this before, and while Ayaka is popular, she didn't get a CG unit, and Alum really wants to push CG units for good reason too. So, oh yeah, and Lightning's kind of just a fan favorite character on the Japanese side. So, really, I think it's quite interesting. I would definitely keep an eye on it and maybe hold back on spending too much resources. For anybody who doesn't know on the JP side, the EX point system is going to get reworked very soon to have, just essentially better rewards at multiple steps. So that kind of just points out that you should not be spending Lapis right now. Everything points to not spending Lapis. Well, I think Ayaka is definitely a lot, well, frustrating, but also a lot cooler in a lot of ways, because this is essentially kind of feels what Lila should have got. I think that waiting, just having a little more patience and seeing what happens on the 30th will pay dividends. And hey, if I'm wrong, you still have time. to enjoy. Just spending a fortune on this banner. Have fun. Alright, so that's all for now, and I will see you next time when we take a look at the other banner unit, Eileen. Who's kind of the same story, but worth telling, I think. So that's all. See you next time.